The NBA has been making inroads in China since the 1980s. It's now the league's most lucrative market outside the US, worth around $4 billion. But those decades of groundwork may be crumbling because of this tweet from Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey supporting Hong Kong protesters last week. The tweet was quickly deleted, but not before triggering a geopolitical storm.
We strongly oppose this and have decided to suspend all cooperation and exchange involving the broadcast of the club as of October 6th.
China has also suspended all NBA broadcasts, and tech giant Tencent says it won't stream exhibition games to be played in China this week after League Commissioner Adam Silver expressed support for Morey.
The long-held values of the NBA are to support freedom of expression, and certainly freedom of expression by members of the NBA community. And in this case, Daryl Morey, as the general manager of the Houston Rockets, enjoys that right as one of our employees.
A failure to launch in China would hurt the Rockets. They're the second most popular team in the country after the Golden State Warriors, thanks in part to the 8 years Hall of Famer Yao Ming played in Houston. The team's current star and the league's leading scorer last year, James Harden, says he knows how important the Chinese market is.
We love China. We love playing there. I know for both of us individually, we go there once or twice a year. They show us the most important love, so we appreciate them as a fan base.
The NBA scandal is not the only new source of tension between the US and China as the two sides prepare for high-level trade talks this week. On Monday, Washington blacklisted 28 Chinese entities, including 8 technology companies, over Beijing's treatment of Muslim minorities. That adds to the growing list of losers on both sides of the trade war. Paolo Montecillo, TRT World.
Well, for more, let's bring in Harry Horton in Washington, D.C. Good to have you back, Harry. Now, the tweet by the Houston Rockets general manager really has triggered a firestorm of criticism. Can you tell us more about the fallout from China?
Yeah, it's been a pretty furious reaction in China. I think most significant is from the broadcasters, the state broadcaster CCTV, and then that Chinese tech giant Tencent saying that they're going to suspend broadcast of NBA games. I mean, these deals that some of these broadcasters have with the NBA, they're worth billions of dollars. So it's not something that the NBA wants to jeopardize in any way. And there's some studies that have suggested that viewing figures in China for NBA games are actually bigger than the viewing figures back here in the United States. So that's a pretty worrying prospect for the NBA if those things start to erode. The other worrying concern from a business point of view has been the kind of diminishing of the Houston Rockets brand in recent days. We've seen reports that Alibaba, one of the shopping giants in China, they appear to have taken all products with Houston Rockets branding off of their website. You can't buy their products in China anymore. So that's a pretty worrying prospect. We've seen the NBA chief, Adam Silver, he has commented already that he thinks that there will be a financial impact because of the events of the past week. He's tried to issue a statement saying, look, we're sorry for the remarks and what's gone on, but also trying to please audiences back here in the United States by saying we also respect the rights of free speech for our players and our coaches and managers. So trying to kind of rectify the problem. It's not clear whether or not he'll be successful in doing that just yet.
No, that's right. Now, the NBA has carefully cultivated its China franchise over a number of years. It's been one of the few US sporting codes to successfully crack the Chinese market. Has the NBA indicated that it is looking to, in fact, repair those ties? How can it go about doing so?
Yeah, it's going to be really tricky for them to do that. This statement that the NBA chief has issued trying to apologise somewhat hasn't gone down incredibly well in China. We've seen the Chinese state broadcaster CCTV responding to the comments that NBA players should be allowed their freedom of speech rights that they're afforded in the United States. The Chinese broadcaster CCTV, they said, look, freedom of speech doesn't count when it comes to national sovereignty and social stability. So it doesn't appear as though the statement has cleared things up completely yet. This has been a big problem for lots of US brands. We've seen in recent years US airlines, US hotel chains, they've had to change their policies because of criticism from Beijing about the way in which they list different Chinese territories that outside of China might be viewed as different countries on their websites. So look, a real challenge, I think, for US brands trying to enter the Chinese market when it comes to the things they can and cannot say outside of China and inside of China.
And this is happening at a time as US and Chinese trade negotiators are gathering where you are in Washington to try and continue trade negotiations in the hopes of ending their bruising trade war. Do you think this might have any impact on those negotiations taking place?
Well, potentially. I mean, look, this dispute hasn't gone down well back here in the United States as well, in particular because many politicians here in the United States have seen the actions of the NBA chief, and they think that actually what basketball bosses are doing is appeasing to the Chinese government by apologising for these remarks, clarifying them, the fact that the Houston Rockets coach deleted his tweets. There's been lots of criticism from US politicians about those actions. So, yeah, it definitely adds another tension ahead of these trade talks coming up in the next week. So we'll have to see how it plays out and whether it affects those.
We sure will. Harry Horton in Washington, thank you as always.